If you want to revolutionize your role as a leader and a manager in your business, if you want to break the treadmill, break that cycle of coming in and getting on the treadmill every day to just do the same thing you did yesterday but get no different results, if you want to work on your business so you get different outcomes, you're going to want to listen to this video. My name is Kevin Johnson, and I am the CEO of Leverage Consulting, and I've been working with people just like you for the last 23 years to help them increase their production, increase their income, but also reduce their stress. So I work with people all the time in terms of how they can improve on an individual basis and how they can get better as an individual, being both oftentimes the technician, but also the leader and the manager of their operation. So with that, there are 5 things I'm going to talk to you about how you can completely revolutionize your role and get different outcomes with your business. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about, and this, you may wonder, why is this number 1? Well, the first thing on the list is you have to get your head right. And when I say get your head right, I'm talking about the type of thoughts we have on the daily basis. I'm talking about where your mind is. So when someone does present you with a problem, do you focus on the fact that we have a problem? And is that what we focus on for the next 10 minutes to an hour or even days? Is that what sits with us? Is that really the biggest thing we focus on? Or is it that we are hyper-focused on a solution? We are hyper-focused on changing the pattern of what we have today in terms of the problem. So there's someone I'm coaching right now, actually a couple of people I'm coaching, and several of them have a very similar place where they're at. And it's the fact that their head is not right. They're not in the right place, and they will find a problem even when there isn't one. And I don't fault them for that. It's just that they're right now in that process of figuring out how they're going to get their head in the right place. And as I talked to one the other day, it's both head and heart. You have to work on getting your head and your heart in the right place, because if, again, you're focusing on the fact that we have a problem, because if you really want to look at the silver lining of this, if you really want to think about, okay, we do have a problem, but that problem is an opportunity. And because if you've identified that there is a problem and you know the source of the problem, we can oftentimes diagnose and figure out how do we fix the problem. And that's really the biggest thing, is if you really think of it, if you had no problems, if you had a business and you had no problems, you'd have to sit back at some point and wonder, are we really trying at all? Are we trying hard enough? Because you'll have problems as you do more deals, you see more clientele, you'll have problems in terms of we need more clientele. There should always be a problem. If you don't have problems, that is a problem. So get your head in the right place and look at everything in terms of a positive, in terms of how can I get around this? How can I fix it? How can I help my people get around this? How can I help my people get their head in the right place? Because sometimes their attitude or where their head is going to affect where you are. So sometimes you have to change the organization. And I will tell you, it is not as hard as you might think it is. Oftentimes just having a team meeting as a whole and keeping them hyper-focused on solutions, oftentimes you'll start to see small changes within the team, and then they're focused on making positive change and having positive outcomes. So again, the first thing is you have to get your head and your heart in the right place. The second thing is, once we have that, once we know we're going to have our head in the right place, we have to block time in the schedule. Because if now that I have a positive outlook on things, or I'm looking for that next problem so I can solve it, we have to block out time for it. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I wanted to talk to you about blocking time, getting off that treadmill. If you don't get off the treadmill, you will forever just come in and do the same thing you've done every day. And instead, what you want to do is take time, and it's that old adage, you've probably heard the old phrase about you have to work on your business, not in it. And many of you listening to this, you'll never not work in the business. You'll be in it because you're part of the reason why the business makes money. The question is really, are you fulfilling the correct role for the business? Because if all you do is work as a technician and a firefighter on a daily basis, you're not working on the business. So when we think about working on the business, it might be a matter of surrounding yourself with other people who might have new or different ideas, or they've been there and done that. and they've already been through the phase of your business. They've already been through that, and they know how to help you get out of it. It may be that you just need time to work on solutions, dedicating time. There's many different ideas out there in terms of how do you change your mental state and how do you change your business. And whether it's people talking about listening to a podcast or reading a book or just stopping. Sometimes the idea of just getting up in the morning, don't do anything else, just get up in the morning, get rid of all your devices, get a cup of coffee, and go stare out the window somewhere. Because it's funny, over the years, it took me a little while to realize it, but I've mowed so many acres of grass in my lifetime, I don't even care to really put a number to it. But I mowed grass for years as part of how I work to make money, pay for myself, get through college. But I mowed so many acres of grass, and mowing that grass gave me the best thought time. It was the time where I could think through anything. There were the times I didn't even know I had a problem until I sat on that tractor and I couldn't do anything else because the sound of the tractor is getting rid of everything else. There are no other noises. And at that time, I'm able to now just think. I mean, it's a monotonous task that all I'm doing is sitting on the tractor and mowing and making sure I don't have skip marks, right? I mean, it's not that complicated. So when you think about that time on the lawnmower, okay, you are not being distracted by anything else. And that's one of the biggest problems in today's world, is that we are constantly distracted. So when you create or make that time, maybe you fire the landscaper and buy a lawnmower, and maybe that'll be one of the best investments you have, is just to make sure that you set aside time to think about life and your business and the people around you and everything else. And you may find that time is your time to think and come up with solutions. For some of you, it might be going to the gym. For some of you, it might be going on a run. For some of you, it might be taking the dog for a walk. But it's something where you have to find time to gain clarity. And when you have clarity, you can figure out what the real problem is, because sometimes we look at the symptoms of the problem and think that's the real problem, and it's not. Sometimes we see the symptoms, and then at that point, we think those symptoms are the actual problem. So as an example, our team might be in an uproar about something, and it doesn't matter what it is right now, but let's just say the team is in an uproar about something. Is that the problem? Well, it could be that the real problem is the fact that the team never gets together and communicates effectively. That's the problem. And we get this us against them kind of mentality and problem. That is a problem. So we can fix that by getting the team together, giving them a common objective to solve. And once they start seeing, well, this is why they feel the way they do, and they can learn why we feel the way we do, and now we can arrive at a common solution. That is a real solution to a real problem, and not dealing with the symptoms of a problem. So that was number 2, and that's blocking time to make sure you can work on the business. So number 3 might be find your experts. And by that, yes, self-serving, finding an expert might be me. It could be your software expert. I have 3 clients right now that we have come to the conclusion, and I know this about everyone, the reality of it is I don't, but every one of them do not fully utilize their software, and their software costs them north of $50,000. So it's more than, oftentimes it's equal to or more than some of your employees. And at $50,000, you would think for this type of software that's supposed to leverage us, it's supposed to provide us with great information, it's supposed to be our brain, supposed to make life easy, but yet we don't use it very well. So hiring a software trainer to come in your office, in your practice, and teach your team how to effectively use this piece of software to, again, make our life easy, to work as our brain, to basically make our day-to-day communication between our teams that much better. That's what that piece of software is there for. So if it's not doing that, hire that expert, bring them in once a quarter, once a month, do something. And it could be with your experts, it might be someone like me who, again, has helped other people get through the phase that you're in now to get to another phase. So hiring the experts, the whole point of that is to accelerate the inevitable. I believe you will succeed. I believe you will get from point A to point B. It's a matter of how quickly you get there and how painful it may or may not be. That's what an expert is there for, is to help accelerate that inevitable place that you're going to get to anyway, get you there faster and sooner and easier than you would have done on your own. Number 4 is you want SMART goals. I know you know what the acronym stands for, but you want SMART goals. As you're going through this process, when you get your head straight and you narrow this thing down by, because you've blocked time in your schedule and you've made time for success, and then you've brought in potentially experts that are going to help you assemble these SMART goals, we need to have something that we can refer back to. Because again, you can sit down, you can do the work, you can create this fantastic, maybe a short list of 5 SMART goals. And in doing that, if we don't have something to then go back and refer to, how do we know if we've been successful or not? If we don't have something that we can refer back to, how do we walk into a team meeting? So those of you who say, I don't know what to talk about when I go into a team meeting. Well, guess what? A great place to start is your SMART goals. So if your SMART goal is, I want to grow this particular procedure by, maybe we did 2 of this procedure last year, and we want to do 2 a week this coming year, okay? That we can create an entire, agenda for a year's worth of team meetings. You could train your entire team for a year just on that one SMART goal. So when you set this, when you have these SMART goals, there's something to fall back on, something for you to measure by. If you lose sight or you get distracted, you fall back to SMART goals because you said, when I was really smart, when I had clarity, when I knew when I got concrete in what I wanted to do, when I put this in concrete, then these SMART goals are something I can fall back to and say, this is what I wanted to do. I now know what to do with team meetings. I now know what to do with my marketing efforts. I now know what to do with team training. I now know what to do with purchasing technology or anything else. Okay. That should be the thing that drives your day-to-day activities. That's why you want these SMART goals. So that was number 4. Number 5 is one of the hardest things on this list. It's actually number 1 and number 5 are the 2 hardest on the list. Some of you may struggle more with number 1. Some of you may struggle more with number 5. Number 5 is you need to learn to say no so you can say yes. And it's so funny. Sometimes I've actually made fun with clients, not made fun of them, but made fun with them. And I'll say to them when we're in a coaching session, I'll say, I want you to repeat after me. I know this is going to be difficult, but repeat after me. No. And I make fun of it and I make a big deal about it, but there's a reason for it. And it's because most people have a real tough time with confrontation. Sometimes the confrontation might be you're conflicted on, do I do this or do I do that? You might be conflicted in terms of breaking old patterns of what you used to do to create new patterns that are going to be more successful than what you've done in the past. Confrontation might come as a result of telling someone that you know, either a patient, a client, a colleague, an employee, someone, you may have to tell them no. And it's because they may come to you, let's just say on every Monday morning, you take the first 2 hours of every Monday and you utilize that time for business planning, you use that time for reflection, looking at reports, referring back to your SMART goals, and someone may say, I want to meet with you on Monday morning. Well, if that time is your time to work on the business, what do? You have to, in some way, shape, or form, tell that person no. Now, you may not say no to them. You in your mind, hopefully that will be the first thing that comes to you, and you say, in the bubble thought, is you say no. Instead, you may say, I can meet with you right after lunch, or I can meet with you at lunch. I can meet with you Tuesday morning. You're giving them the other options, but it's a very nice way of saying no. And if you don't protect your own time to work on your business, no one else is going to do it for you. Even the people who are hired, meaning your employees, even those people who are hired to work with you, follow your lead, leverage you, support you, all those different things, they're going to be in line with everyone else competing for your time. So you have to keep your time sacred. I can tell you a lot of other people keep their time sacred. It's just a matter of what they keep it sacred for. There are some people that without fail, they will go home and spend time with their kids. Some people are religious about their time going to the gym. You have to take and make this time sacred and ensure that you have that time every week. And it may feel like you make fantastic progress the first time you do it. The second time might feel like little progress. The next time may feel like no progress. And then the fourth time you do it, you may look back and say, look how far we've come. And that's exactly what happened with a client recently, where we've talked about a number of different strategies and we created SMART goals. We blocked out time. We started to get our head right and so forth. And in 1 week, if we extrapolate success they had in 1 week, and if all they have to do is keep doing what they did, they will grow their business over 400 grand in 1 year. And the funny part is, it's still well below their capacity. It's still well below what they're capable of doing. So when you really put your mind to it, and ideally, when this client realizes the full potential of this, they should grow by $1 million by what we're doing right now. And that's just the short term. I don't know how far we will, but I don't know how far this is going to go. And we won't know until we get there. That's why we have to keep working away at it. That's why running the business is not a singular one-time event. This is the kind of thing that you have to work on and dedicate time to weekly. Some people do it daily, but you have to at least do it weekly. So again, the 5 things are: we need to get our head right and our heart right, because with that we have clarity and we don't focus on problems, we focus on solutions to problems. The second thing is we need to block time in our schedule to ensure that we're working on the business and getting away from firefighter mode. We then need to seek experts, because your time is valuable, and the longer you wait to implement things, the longer you're delaying your own success. The fourth thing is SMART goals, and you should take the SMART goal concept and ingrain that into your daily routines, but also ingrain that into your team. Even your development plans for your employees should be based around SMART goals. Get them thinking in that same fashion. And then the last one is learning to say no and getting comfortable with it and getting the people around you comfortable with it. They will respect you more for it in the long run. So with that said, these are 5 ways that you can get out of the trenches, get off the treadmill, work on your business, and create different outcomes for yourself, your family, and your team. So with that said, again, my name is Kevin Johnson. I'm the CEO of Leverage Consulting. If there's anything that I can ever do to help you, or if there's anything that I could do in a future video to cover a topic, I'd love to do it. Even if you want to get onto a podcast and talk about something to do with the world that you work in and how we could overcome it, or even tell your success story, let me know. I'd love to hear from you.